waiting on the players. Let's see some prizes. Hopefully nothing too bad there for both players here.
All right, we do see the Radiant Ninja down. Also the 1/1 of the Crobat VMAX in there and a Bidoof. So not terrible prize cards. We do see plenty of Flying Pikachu will still be in the deck.
Maybe that one Crobat V might be a little detrimental just in case the hand gets a little bad. It is at the top of the prizes, so it's the one way to draw some extra cards without that B barrel.
Yeah, that can be a little bit tricky. We'll have to see if the rest of the hand is able to help Kid out in those situations. And it looks like it's gonna be a pretty good one. We don't have too much issues working with those prize cards. We are finally going to get underway here in round 9.
All right, Kyle, let's get hype. Round 9, win and in for both of these players. And it is Origin Form Palkia V up against that Flying Pikachu V. And that has to not be a good look for Demetrius this turn 1.
He said, "You got to be kidding me! I got to take that down to win and in and get into day 2."
I guess the one benefit is he is going first. Palkia always loves going first. Get those energy on as fast as possible. Sculpt your hand. Get those Sobble in play.
Yep, we do see that Sobble getting shifted up into the potential onto the bench. It's going to be a nice addition. Of course, you want to make sure that you have a nice solid board setup with this deck. We've seen a lot of different variants in how you go about this. Do you go with the Irida? Do you make that your consistency route? It's been a little bit slower, but it seems to be working here for Demetrius and able to get a nice little setup here on the opening turn. Of course, not being able to use that supporter, but we'll have access to cards like that in the future.
Again, just checking the deck, making sure you know what's prized. We saw the 3 Drizzile earlier, so it's gonna definitely have to check some cards there, making sure. And yep, Sobble is the choice. You got that energy to go on. But other than that, you benched the second Palkia V, maybe not, just pass, yeah.
Yep, it's a solid start there, and we do see the rest of the hand looks pretty strong there for Demetrius. Going to have that Professor's Research on the following turn, and double Beeberl is not exactly where you want to be for Kid, but Ultra Ball is always a fine card to see on the opener.
This card sharing Care and a Dark Energy. Going to hopefully find an
The opener.
This card sharing Care and a Dark Energy. Gonna hopefully find an Arceus V here, get things going. The Flying Pikachu VMAX is gonna be your main attacker in this matchup, but the Arceus really just helps you get things set up. Maybe even something like a combination of switching to the benched Arceus V with a double turbo energy can get that Flying Pikachu V set up out of nowhere. Yeah,
getting those energies accelerated is 100% the main reason for the Arceus V. And of course, using that Starbirth to get maybe the evolutions or the double turbo to get the attack off is going to be something that you have to get done. But this is going to be a pretty solid turn for Kid. Going to get to preserve those Beeberl for later on. Use that Marnie. Maybe get some disruption on Demetrius' side and find some extra cards. Would love to see an energy attachment onto the Arceus, but you know what? Sometimes you find it on the 5th card, and that works pretty well.
And then, of course, you know, the free retreat from Flying Pikachu V coming in clutch.
Yeah, that is huge. Getting this energy acceleration does feel so strong. It didn't have to overbench either, so Palkia finding a knockout starts to get a little tricky with the math here, and Stark may just feel comfortable being able to get all these energies charged up onto one Flying Pikachu. Gonna see the split still. Okay, I like being safe.
You just said the opposite.
I'm saying he could, but safety here is fine.
Ordinary Rod off the top for Demetrius, but does have the Evolution Incense, so we'll be able to find that Palkia V-Star, and a level ball in hand means Drizzile can also be grabbed from the deck.
Yep, a lot has to go right in order to remove a Flying Pikachu. It would have to be a full bench, I believe, to get the 160-200. So yeah, that starts to get a little tricky, and that's maybe something that's out of line here. But of course, things are possible with Professor's Research. You could draw into plenty of cards, but It's asking a lot.
It's 7 cards. If Kid can find the double turbo energy off 5, maybe you can find 4 Pokemon off the Professor's research, you know?
Yep. There's if the knockout were to happen on the active Pokemon, because we were going to see the Professor's research as the supporter for the turn, then maybe we see this Big Charm held instead and go for the choice belt. But it's just asking so much of your deck to give you all of those Pokemon. So seems like a standard line here to just get that Big Charm down and feel consistent with some decent chip damage.
Looking at the 7 cards, definitely no basics in there. Maybe a quick ball to go along with it, but starts off with the Capacious Bucket, finding 2 water energies.
Yep, this is just something about the Palkia deck that's so incredible. Just plain consistency. It ends up being so good for this deck. You just don't really need that much to get going. You have water energies with Capacious Bucket, and you just start to accelerate left and right. These energies can come out of the discard pile by way of your Palkia's ability, and you also just have ways to accelerate energies with your Greninja, just giving you all of this extra draw and then flooding through the board through that route.
And we see another quick ball in the hand, so that could find that Radiant Greninja like you were saying, and I think might be the choice. Discards the Training Court instead of the water energy, but also could just need the water energy to attack.
Yeah, maybe just doesn't want to give Training Court to your opponent as well. It's maybe the only way that you can avoid some energies coming down, perhaps. So seems fine. And yeah, this is going to be just a nice consistent chip here. Get a little bit of damage onto this Arceus, and hopefully you have an answer to it on the following turn.
160 damage on that Arceus V, and now it's up to Kid to find the flying Pikachu VMAX, get some things rolling here. Need to do a little bit of math, and with that Tool Jammer does shut off the Big Charm, and this is a big Professor's research here. Is there a flying Pikachu VMAX in those 7 cards? This is a big Professor's research here. Is there a flying Pikachu VMAX in those 7 cards? Evolution Incense.
Yeah, Evolution Incense is huge. That means that we could see the Arceus V-Star and then potential Starbirth into some big plays here, and that's when things start to get exciting.
Looks like Arceus V-Star is pulled to the front, and the Arceus with its Starbirth will be able to help find that flying Pikachu VMAX, and to go along with another card, you see the Path to the Peak in hand. That's a pretty good card to kind of disrupt the Palkia from actually getting going again, especially if this active one gets knocked out.
Yeah, if you can get in the way of Palkia and shutting down the Star Portal, maybe if a potential Greninja coming down and getting additional energies into the discard pile, getting more acceleration, that's just something that you want to get ahead of. So certainly could see Kid going with a route like that, but ultimately just having the knockout here on the Palkia, finding that Bidoof, and maybe starting to focus a little more on having some draw answers in the future seems like a pretty solid line for sure.
And with that Starbirth ability, just finding the 2 flying Pikachu VMAX, showing Demetrius, like, yeah, this is what I'm grabbing.
You're going to work through these. they are large lads, and they like knocking out Palkias.
All right, so it does...
It wins
It
games.
does enough to make your opponent scoop the game. Wow.
Yeah, that is definitely massive, and that's just the power of this deck, and the power of those interesting tech cards like the Tool Jammer. Just having access to something like that, where you can basically shut down any additional math opportunities they had. You are not going to stop this. Knockouts are coming left and right, and if you don't have the answer lined up, this game's over.
Yeah, and really that Tool Jammer is what was so important with that double turbo energy, because that's the one way to take the knockout through that Big Charm.
Yep.
Granted, he had that Flying Pikachu VMAX with 2 basic energies, just needed 1 more basic energy to get that going.
Let's save it for later, though.
Yeah.
All we got to do is we need like 3 turns to find a lightning energy. That's pretty fair.
Going into Game 2, this matchup looks really rough for Demetrius.
Yeah, I'm scared for him, and rightfully so, because that was that was just about the nightmare. You find out that you're going to be on stream. You find out that it is a flying Pikachu deck, and these guys have had a lot of time sitting trying to get their decks in order, getting re-sleeved and ready to go for this. And was just thinking, man, I have a lot of work ahead of me, don't I? And sure enough, 9 minutes in, already down the opening game here.
And honestly, I can see why Demetrius scooped there, because discarding the one training court meant there was no other stadium to bump Path to the Peak. And with that, you can't use your Origin form Palkia V-Star to come back.
No, that's true, and that's a good spot, because you can tell that the game's just not going to progress from that stage, and knowing that there's no opportunity there, just give yourself as most time as you can to potentially get this game done. And 40 minutes is going to be plenty of time to maybe get this rolling and get some real aggression started with this Palkia, because that's just about the only way you're going to get through Flying Pikachu.
All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the prizes here. Nothing too bad. The Pumpkaboo could maybe come into effect, but the Radiant Greninja for Demetrius there. If things get going, that could be a card that's potentially needed.
Yeah, it's a great way to get those energies into the discard pile and start getting additional energies down with your Palkia V-Star. So not being able to get that early on could be rough.
Here is the Quick Ball. Discards the Big Charm. Didn't really do much in that game one, so I was like, yeah, might as well discard it now. Grab something like a Sobble or the Origin Palkia V.
Yeah, we do see that Sobble coming down there. I believe I saw the Palkia in hand, so at least going to have access to that. Didn't catch just the rest of it. Maybe an energy card as well, so certainly not the worst start here, but you look over and you see Flying Pikachu and you go, oh, geez. Here we go.
Like, I never want balloons for my birthday again.
Yes, it's a terrifying sight. And adorable.
Adorably terrifying.
Yes.
Does look like 2 Palkia in hand. Energy goes on one of them. And a couple supporters for next turn, but just a pass of the turn to Kid. Now he's going to have to try to figure out, maybe get another double Turbo Energy Arceus V going. That worked pretty well last game.
Well, Arceus has decided that it is going to play Pokemon. It flies out of the hand, and we're going to see Kid get started here. Going with the Evolution Instance to start things off. Interesting choice, but, you know, anything to get through the deck and start looking is fair with me.
Most likely just getting the Arceus V-Star. Granted, with no Pumpkaboo, you kind of telegraph your play to another Path to the Peak for your opponent.
Could be just thin the card out and you have Ultra Ball, and then you go for Crobat.
That is an option.
It looks like he's mapped it out, and he's gonna go ahead and get that rolling there. We do see the Dark Energy hitting the discard pile, and we'll have access to Crobat this time around, thankfully.
Looking like it, and with the Ultra Ball here.
Oh, there's just a better supporter in there. I see the path being held, so that is going to be pretty nice to slow down Palkia. Of course, not getting to use your Starbirth early is a little unfortunate, but you can work your way around that.
Let's see what the other card is. Oh, it's Professor's Research.
It's just the best one. It has to be. No high fives.
Yep.
All
no
right.
double Turbo Energy yet. Just a Lightning here. Still has access, or no access to the Crobat because the Pumpkaboo's prized.
Yeah, that's it'd feel weird too to just play the path and then get rid of it just so that you can go for this. It's such a win more play, and I mean maybe that's just a part of the game that you have to go for, but I don't think that we're that desperate just yet. Instead, Thundershock online, potential paralysis lined up here, and Manaphy has never been more scared of balloons in their life.
Quick Ball discards the Charon's Care. Gonna find that Bidoof making its way onto the stream yet again. Other than that, the hand doesn't look too well stocked for Kid here. It does have a Marnie, I believe.
It's I mean, of course, you try to play the path down, and hopefully you get your opponent in a position where they just don't accelerate energies. They play really slow. You don't see the Radiant Greninja. But if they do counter it, then you get your Arceus, and you feel pretty great. So this could work out fairly well for Kid here.
It's honestly the best possible scenario if they do, because then, yeah, you'll use your ability, but then I get to use mine, get another one, and you don't have another counter stadium for the rest of the game.
Yeah, and if you just target where the energies go with a big Flying Pikachu VMAX, you're just going to be in a great spot.
Bidoof hits the table along with another Arceus V, and just an unfortunate pass of the turn, but that's thanks to not drawing that double turbo energy this time.
Yep, Kid with 3 cards in hand. Of course, we do know that Ultra Ball is one of those, so the hand is not gone just yet. This isn't the most awful turn in the world as Kid is making it look to be. He definitely is playing it up a little bit, it looks like. Just saying, oh, this did not go well. But yeah, honestly, you have to feel pretty confident in a spot like this. Lightning energy down, and yeah, it wasn't as explosive as a turn as the opening game, but Demetrius still has to do so much work to get this going.
Professor's Research discards a boss's orders, and Marnie finds that Origin Form Palkia V-Star off the 7 cards, though, and an energy to go along with it. Got a couple, actually. Choice Belt as well, but there's plenty of Pokemon in play.
Yep, we do see the level ball as well, so Drizzile is a great target there, and maybe finding a way to move the Manaphy if we didn't already see that in hand. Could get aggressive with this Palkia V-Star potentially lined up. And math is starting to look fairly good. This is a spot where you can get aggressive, maybe take some early prize cards, and maybe you get ahead of a Flying Pikachu VMAX coming down and wiping away everything you've worked for.
There is the scoop up net. That Origin Form Palkia V-Star is fully powered up and in the active spot. One more Pokemon needed to take the knockout here, or the Choice Belt in hand. Depends if you want to bench that Manaphy or not.
Yeah, we are going to see that. And this will be a knockout. Getting 2 prize cards is going to be nice because this hand really wasn't going anywhere for Demetrius. Maybe able to find something relevant there, and we do see the Evolution Incense taken, so that is going to lead to likely Inteleon on the following turn, and that is going to be huge to continue to make some plays here.
Speaking of huge Evolution Incense, Kid drew one for the turn. This will be able to find the VMAX or the B-Barrel. You also have that Ultra Ball, and now you're just needing a double turbo energy and a knockout, and then where does Demetrius go from there?
Yeah, this is tough because B-Roll is coming down. We are going to see Flying Pikachu. If the energies do line up and this knockout comes from a Max Balloon, that is going to be really hard to come back from.
Little unfortunate having to discard the Tool Jammer, but that's not really going to matter too much. That Big Charm is already gone. And the Choice Belt on the active is most likely going to get knocked out as long as you draw the card for the turn.
Yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at the counts for Kid. He is all for double turbo, so this is going to be some decent odds here to be able to find the right card and get this rolling. We'll see if he is able to find it.
None of them are prized. 2 Lightning. Oh, no.
Not there yet. I believe we do see Raihan in the hand, though, so that is going to work out fantastic. What a sneaky way to get the job done, going to get to accelerate this dark energy down onto the Flying Pikachu. And Demetrius is going, oh, man, that's happening, isn't it?
Insane. The Raihan play, able to bail out the hand of not drawing double turbo energy, and with this is able to power up or get another Flying Pikachu VMAX charged up for next turn, hopefully.
Yeah, this hand is pretty strong, too, especially with the B-Roll engine. You're going to get to thin it down fairly well and just keep drawing throughout the rest of this game. So just thinking about what you need to get the job done here, just if you have both of these Flying Pikachu VMAX down, you're not going to give your opponent an opportunity to maybe steal one of the understages and take 2 prize cards, and then they only have to work through 1 big Pikachu. And sure enough, that's what we're going to see, and huge knockout here from the Max Balloon. We are looking for evolutions to be attacking, but we're always looking for that in this matchup.
Looking at Demetrius' hand, has the evolution incense, like you said, from the prizes, is able to find Inteleon, get some shady dealings going. And with that, we'll hopefully find the training court to bump that path to the peak here. Kind of see him eyeing it down.
Yeah, I suppose there is a route where you just go for the Melanie and you don't counter the stadium yet. Your opponent's already showing Arceus, and maybe that's something that you're worried about. You could just continue to try to work the slow and steady way and get these energies accelerated by those different cards, but it feels slow.
Yeah, because especially if you still need the water energy and all that stuff in hand too.
Well, that's what Melanie does. Just draw it. We play 7. We'll find it.
Oh, there's water in there.
Yeah, this is I mean, definitely the chip damage attack is lined up. The Palkia V-Star will go ahead and get some relevant damage down, but it is a uphill battle to work down this 310 hit points. It feels almost impossible, and Stark is doing, Kid is doing exactly what he needs to do. He's got 3 bench Pokemon. There's no way that this math is ever going to work out, and rightfully so. Putting yourself in a fantastic spot here in Game 2 is right where you need to be.
Looks like the cards of choice for Demetrius was that training court and scoop up net. So Ultra Ball will discard the 3rd water that Demetrius needs and grabs a Sobble. That way you can scoop up net the Inteleon, have the Drizzile for next turn. And with that training court, we'll be able to break free of this path to the peak and use that Star Portal ability from the Origin form Palkia V-Star.
Yeah, that has to feel nice to finally get something going. You have multiple attackers that you're going to have lined up. The problem is your opponent just needs to find energy cards to get going, and you gave them a training court, and they also have access to Starbirth and a Bibarel. So it is so much to dodge at this point, and it's rough. But you got to keep fighting the good fight, and we're going to see the chip damage coming down from the Palkia V-Star, getting Flying Pikachu in range of a 2-hit knockout, and that's all you can really ask for.
Listen, Kyle, this game's lasted 4 turns, so it's already longer than the first game. Already better odds for Demetrius here.
That's all we can hope for at this point.
Lightning Energy does hit the benched Flying Pikachu VMAX, so now that is just a double Turbo Energy away from getting scary. You see the Quick Ball here. Probably just to thin the hand down. You could also find the Crobat V, draw some extra cards, but again, you don't really want to fill your bench up too much in this matchup.
Yeah, I think Kid is exactly where he needs to be. If you hold on to Starbirth for the rest of the game, then you probably have an opportunity to find that double turbo when you need it if this Pokemon needs to get going on the following turn. And a little bit of hand disruption, too, is nice. You know that your opponent is holding on to those Inteleon pieces, so go ahead and put those onto the bottom of the deck, and you're lined up for a pretty strong knockout here.
We see another path to the peak in Kid's hand. Seeing that, do you go for the Starbirth right now just so you can get that locked into play? But your opponent has already used Star Portal, so the only thing you're really shutting off is Radiant Greninja.
Right, yeah, I think you want to leave your Starbirth open so that you can find that double turbo at some point and get the job done with the Flying Pikachu VMAX on the bench. This game is coming down to the wire. It feels like it hasn't been going on that long, but sure enough, Kid has taken a ton of prize cards here, and Demetrius is going to get down to 1 prize card at the end of this turn too. So it's we're going to see this close out very shortly.
Quick Ball here, probably finding something to thin the deck out a little bit. You have that Drizzile, and then last card in hand is that Inteleon. Yep. So here we see the new supporter that's been trying to make a lot of waves here, Roxanne, one of the best disruptions we have right now. If your opponent has 3 or fewer prize cards remaining, each player shuffles their hand in their deck. You draw 6, your opponent draws 2.
Yeah.
Not that good against a B-Barrel.
It is not, but you have to play to your outs, and at this point, finding the last path to the peak, only 1 in the deck, that is exactly what you need to do right now. You need to make sure Starbirth doesn't go ahead and guarantee that, and maybe Kid doesn't find the right cards. Maybe Beaverl is going to only draw 2. That's the most ideal situation, just 3 unplayable cards, and can't get there, but you're asking a lot. And the Beaverl is likely going to start to look through and find some of the right cards eventually here.
Well, even with that, there's so many right cards that can be found. You got the double turbo energy, of course, but any quick ball means Pumpkaboos and out to this path to the peak. Kid grabbed it from the presence.
Oh my goodness.
Just draw it off the top. It's fine.
Oh, that
Discard
feels
that
good.
path to the peak. You can Starburst for the double turbo energy. And with that, Kid Stark is max ballooning his way into day 2.
Whew. Yep, and just like that, you can take down the arguable best deck in the format, and what seemed to be some of the easiest games that he has likely had this tournament. That is how you beat Tord Reckless, and that is how you go on to beat Demetrius Eaton as well, because Palkia is looking pretty free.
Unfortunate ending for Demetrius' tournament here. Not able to make day 2, but still put on quite a show here.